Destiny, thank you so much for sharing your interest in our readings this week. Digging the Mattel text in particular, television and American culture, and thank you for offering your question for us to consider. It's exciting to hear when readings are speaking to students in various ways, and that again is our intent and purposes, folks. We want something to resonate with someone, and then ideally more than one thing can do that for us. But we're in that business of a strong sample size, right? Looking for quality types of works that will enhance our individual and collective journeys in the comm, media, and ethics program here at MacU. So you bring up the autoethnographic nature of many programs, particularly television, when Destiny's talking about Ellen or Cosby or some of these programs, and how these texts, the creators, draw from experience. And so you ask a tricky question: do you think that the intimate experience, and I guess my summarized wording here, the intimate experience of a program makes a program better than when a text is merely a kind of creative manifest, right? So less directly connected to the maybe the writer creator. And I think there's room. I think there is, of course, room to enjoy both. I would say shows that have a tendency to really resonate with audiences on an emotional level often do come from that personal space. I think of add some examples. The sitcom Community, okay? Never an enormous hit, but for those that watched the sitcom Community, it tapped in on, you just get into the wavelength of a certain program. And this show has this just zany, wacky cast of characters. It is excellent at intentionally shifting genres within the genre of comedy, within the genre of a sitcom, okay? And so Community originally aired on NBC, and then it finished, I think, on Yahoo, and ran for several seasons. But it is a show with a wide cast, and questions were often asked of its creator showrunner, Dan Harmon. Who are you in this show? It's clear you have as a showrunner, he had a large voice in the writer's room, okay, and would write many episodes himself, would direct some episodes himself, but would oversee each season's minus one story arcs and scripts. And so when that question, it's a common question, would be asked, like, well, which of these characters is you? Harmon's response is, they're all me. They're all me to a degree, and that's a sign of the more you ruminate on that, it's a sign of how a text like that can gain intimacy with the audience. Let's take another example that I'm sure several of you would be familiar with. Something several have talked about in previous courses. Grey's Anatomy. This show is still on. This show is still making episodes, and some of you maybe even past the point of hate watching. You might just be back to, like, what do you call it? Apathetic watchers or something. I don't know. We're gonna have to come up with some new terminology here. But Grey's Anatomy creator Shonda Rhimes, one of the reasons this show caught fire and just seemed to have maybe a dramatic anchor where other shows didn't, even when it was ludicrous, is because Rhimes was writing from experience. Okay, she's writing herself as med school trainee, right? And so that her understanding, her sort of ability to capture her own experiences and to tap into her own emotional feelings while going through med school, and translate that into various characters is a sign of one of those texts. This is what Jace Mattel and so many others have dubbed an era of auteur TV, right? And so when we say auteur TV, we're borrowing, of course, from film theory, and auteur theory is something that was theorized about in kind of 1970s to present, when looking back at film history, and specifically movements where a director would also would serve as the visionary of a project, right? So oftentimes they're not only director but writer. They might be, handling camera work, the cinematography, or have some sort of direct attachment to giving instructions to cast, sometimes casting themselves in roles. All right, and so when we talk about a work of art, to Berger's rules of artist, and so on, artifact, we look at a work of art, a text, a media text, that has entertainment value, and we can say that it had a specific vision that was of a singular type of voice, and that kind of work would be identified as an auteur work, right? If they had some type of deep underlying master message that they wanted to portray through that work, we can closely associate those things. So getting a little bit on off track, but I don't know. I think it's just my way of fielding this response and giving us something to think about that's not entirely generic. So hopefully we'll do that, and hopefully others will come up with their own examples to the works that I or Destiny have mentioned, and you guys should check out Community. Now this sounds like a binge-worthy show. For those of you getting close to the end of the degree here, it's based at a community college, okay, hence its name, and I mean, you're just going to, people love it or hate it, I guess, but the first couple of seasons are just, give it a try, right? Just go there, right? Lose yourself. All right, thanks.